It ate me through the wall, are you kidding me? It ate me through the wall! That's a joke! Hello fellow humans, I am Luke, and today I would like to talk to you about the problems I've had with Amnesia The Bunker, including the big one that stopped me from enjoying this game alongside nearly everyone else that played it. These critiques are of course subjective, and if you thought the game was great and scary, that's great. I just want to give a small counter-narrative to the positivity these games received, through my own experiences. Horror is incredibly subjective, and there are some things that really take away any sense of being scared in a horror game. And to me, The Bunker did one of those things that really destroyed my horror. But before we get to that big problem, there's one other thing I'd like to mention. The opening text in the main loading screen tells you that you can overcome most obstacles in multiple ways. If you think something might be possible to do, it probably is. I'm not sure I can agree with that. The few things I've tried that I thought are possible through things the game reinforces weren't. I know there are some problems that do have multiple solutions. Doors can be destroyed with a brick, blown up, shot, or you can pray that the monster does it for you. Rats can be distracted with meat, you can throw flares at them, get them away with a torch, yet none of these things really feel interesting to me. They feel like specific ways the developer thought of to overcome specific problems. For the main obstacles in the game, chains locking a room, vent covers, metal doors, combination locks, there's no clever ways around, as far as I know. No emergent gameplay, no trick. In order to open a vent cover, you need the wrench. To get into something with a code, you need the code, and the code is in one specific place. Early on in the game, you have a door locked with a padlock and a chain. Naturally, you shoot it to open the door, which works. Tried and tested gameplay, a true classic, reinforcing that you see a chain you can shoot it to open. Or at least so I assumed. Not too far into the game, I was met with another door closed with a chain, so naturally I shot at it so I could get in. Except that didn't work. You need the chain cutters to get in. On the side is also a vent cover. I tried exploding both with a grenade, neither worked. If you think something is possible, it probably isn't. Outside of a few specific instances, I find there really aren't alternate solutions, which wouldn't be a problem if having multiple solutions wasn't something the game told you was possible and almost proud of. Are there any clever ways to overcome these chains, these code locks? Let me know if you found any. I'd love to be proven wrong here, because I love the idea they were going for, even if I find their execution heavily flawed. With that, there's no more beating around the bush. Let's get to my big problem with the bunker. Except, trick to you. In order to talk about my big problem, I first need to talk about the best Amnesia some more. Let's see what Amnesia The Dark Descent did right, and barely any studio, even Frictional, was able to recreate since. You see, Dark Descent was pretty easy. That's a good thing. It was easier to get away from the monster, and even easier to hide from it. In fact, the game mostly even despawned the monster after it showed it to you. Just playing its sounds, making you go from corner to corner carefully, hiding when you don't need to, because you hear the monster just beyond the door, and making your mind fill in the rest. Take the archives level in Dark Descent. Not only is there tons of space on that map, the monster also can never hurt you in this level, but you see it, you hear it, so you're scared of it, but you can never die to it. This works really, really well, because you know what one of the biggest killers of horror is? Annoyance. In my previous Amnesia video, I talked about how an overexposure to the monster makes you numb to it, makes you less scared. This kind of also happens if you die a lot to the monster in Bunker. But mostly the death animations can just end up a bit goofy if you die and know you're dying. Unlike the Dark Descent, where it just slashes across the screen. But even worse, if I die too often, I'm annoyed. Annoyed that I have to redo progress. Annoyed that it pulled me through a wall. Annoyed that it knew exactly where I am, even though I was trying to be quiet. And when I'm annoyed, I'm not scared. Now, I'm not good at video games. You could even say I'm bad at them. And in the bunker, this really was a problem. While some negative reviews on Steam say that this game is too easy, I had the opposite experience. I died many times to the monster, and every time I got progressively less scared, until any sense of horror I felt at the beginning was completely absent, and playing the game felt like a chore. And that is the core of what my problem here is. The monster is always present, and that comes with several aspects to this problem. First off, in my experience the monster felt kind of... I can't really say anything but bullshit. I don't seem to have ever gotten good at understanding the monster, because its behavior never made much sense to me. No matter how much I snuck around, it seemed to always be in the exact part of the bunker I am in. This was most laughable when I triggered a tripwire in one end of the dungeon, the prison, to go into another part of it, the soldiers' quarters. And after I tripped the wire, I heard the monster come in to investigate behind me, and walked away without it seeing me. And when I arrived down the stairs into another corner of the bunker, the monster was in front of me. And this is what the monster felt like throughout the entirety of my playthrough. It always showed up, whether I had the lights on or not, whether I tried to run or sneak, the monster would often come in behind me and kill me. Several times it did so in a way where I didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have anywhere to run away to, so I just died. I don't know if this is because of the way the game has loading screens between different sections of the bunker, and the monster maybe always teleports to the bunker part that you load to or that you're loaded in, or if I just got unlucky, but this felt really bad and destroyed my horror experience. Now, could I have fought back and tried to get it to run away? Sure, but coming from every other Amnesia experience, I couldn't really get used to fighting back, so I mostly didn't. I tried to stick to what I knew, playing it like every other Amnesia, and that didn't work. And here's another part of the problem. Though because I have little experience with the other games of survival horror, like Resident Evil, a lot of this part is conjecture. The reason why I think a lot of survival horrors, where you can shoot and fight things, work, is because of having to struggle to survive with your limited resources. In theory, the bunker isn't any different. Yet the reason why I think it doesn't work in the bunker is because you fight a singular monster that no matter what during the regular game you won't be able to kill. In Dead Space there's an enemy you can't really kill. You shoot off its limbs, but you know it will grow them back. This works in a game with set levels where you slowly push forward. In the bunker the map is relatively small, and I think that's to its detriment. You can never really get away far enough after making the monster back off. And if I'm right, and the monster is always in the part you've loaded, then that makes the space even smaller. I find that the bunker doesn't commit enough to be like those other survival horrors, while straying too far from what made Dark Descent work to adhere to that. It didn't leave enough ways to hide like in older Amnesias. The monster saw me through little blockades I built, or destroyed a table I was hiding under simply by walking past, and with me not being able to get used to the shooting and throwing grenades at it, I died. A lot. Which made me annoyed, not scared, because if you die, you lose your progress. And that's the last aspect of this problem. The way of progression. In older Amnesias, you'd always push forward. If you get an item, the game saves. You solve a puzzle, the game saves. In Bunker, it only ever saves if you get to the save point in the main hub room. So another annoying bit here is losing progress, and having to redo mundane tasks. This meant that after every little thing I'd done, I'd run back to save, because a few times I didn't make it back, and I lost like 5-10 minutes of progress or more, and after that happened a few times, I really didn't want it to happen anymore. So the gameplay loop would mostly be, do a thing, run back and save, run back to where I was, continue doing the thing. This kind of destroyed my horror experience too, as the longer a section went, I'd be more anxious about dying and having to redo a bit, and if that did happen, I'd be frustrated, not scared. There's a thing with gamers, they want to optimize games, sometimes to their own detriment. Wanting to optimize is a problematic thing in many ways, and here's where I have to praise the Dark Descent some more, and its insanity system. Yeah, I'm serious. The Dark Descent did a lot right. Its open level design that Rebirth wasn't able to copy. And if you want to hear more about that, why not watch my other Amnesia critique, where I try and tear Amnesia Rebirth a new one. And the insanity system used it in a very clever way. If the optimal way is to not look at the monster, then you won't. And that way, the monster is even scarier, because all you're left with is silhouettes of it, and your own mind to fill in the blanks in the worst way possible. Optimizing in the bunker means Running back to save constantly means killing yourself if you use too much generator fuel while exploring and not making any progress, and while you can always blame the gamer for their optimizations that ruin their experience, of course great designers use that optimization to enhance the gameplay. And unlike Dark Descent, the bunker didn't. It instead caused issue. And there you have it, my big problem with Amnesia the Bunker. A monster that seems to always be there, killing you, breaking your horror, making you optimize the game in an unfun way, and not enough ways to really play the old Amnesia way. Which meant, until I'd get good at this type of game, any semblance of horror would be at long distance. To me, horror is about the rich and oppressive atmosphere. Monsters should be lurking in the dark, but be used sparingly. You should be more scared of the shadows than any actual threat, because hiding from a roaming monster in first person really isn't all that fun if it's difficult. The horror disappears the harder it is. But hey, that's just like my opinion, man. What's yours? Did you love the bunker specifically because of everything I said here? Do you disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Lukeshadow, signing off.